Welcome back to On Rank Podcast. Another episode here featuring Elijah and Grant.
How y'all doing today? Yeah, we just wanted to check in with you guys this week. Talk about a little bit of NBA free agency, some of the moves we've been seeing and the impacts we think that will have on the NBA next year, and then also talk about something that was, kind of a big part of our childhood, but the Mouse and the Palace, and finally, Netflix finally decided to make a documentary around all that. So we'll just kind of dig in on, where we're at and what our thoughts were on it back then and what we remember about it. And definitely excited for that. So what we'll do to kind of kick things off is kind of start off with NBA free agency. Obviously, we know the Lakers and the Nets made a couple moves here and there. Lakers made quite a few moves. I don't know if the Nets did a ton, but we kind of understand and know where they'll be at in the picture, at least from now it's based off of those teams. But just wanted to see. I think I saw that Miami, New York, the Knicks, and then the Chicago Bulls were the ones that I think they made the biggest splashes. Just want to see out of all those teams, which one would you like? As far as some of the moves they made. What are your thoughts on those? What teams may be able to make an impact next year?
Yeah. So I do think lots of teams made moves that will potentially make them better. I do think a lot of teams probably got better. I think every one of them probably got better. The Knicks got better. Miami got better. Bulls clearly got better. I don't know if any of those moves will be able to, separate the front runners that were already in place. That's being the Nets, Lakers, whoever else you may think might be in the running. Bucks again, Suns. I don't know if anybody made a big enough splash to really dethrone any of those teams. But I do think probably I would say the Knicks got the best, in my personal opinion. I really like that Kemba Walker deal, getting Kemba Walker. I believe he's a New York native. If not, he definitely played in the Big East. So, just kind of getting him back to his old stomping grounds. Yep. And I kind of just think it's right for him to even be in the New York environment, New York atmosphere. So I think that's a good move. I think he's a very solid point guard, veteran point guard, can lead your team, especially when you have some of the other pieces around, like a Julius Randle, like a Derrick Rose, like some of those other pieces. He might be a good guy to kind of orchestrate it all together and hopefully make it gel a little more. They were kind of punched in the mouth during the playoffs as far as just getting completely derailed from what they're normally doing. But in having a great point guard, a perennial all-star point guard will help weather those storms throughout the playoffs, help Julius Randle get in the right spots here and there, and maybe just settle everything down. So I do think, they definitely clearly got better. I like a lot of those Miami moves as well. Sorry?
Evan Fournier as well.
Yes, yeah, I completely forgot about him. So
that was a guy that been in Orlando, I think, for like 7-8 years, averaged like 18 to 20 a game, shoots like high 30s, low 40s from three. They didn't playoffs. This guy had trouble putting the ball in the basket, and they were double teaming the Hawks were double teaming Randall, so making things real hard on him. So now you got two guys that can essentially get their own shots to add to that nucleus with Randall, Rose, and Barrett. So I think, like you said, I don't think they're too far off, or I don't think they're going to be like coming in like, going to the finals or anything along those lines. But I think they could, if it works out, they can give somebody some issues, maybe make it to the second round, lose somebody in 6 games, 7 games, or maybe even shock us like the Hawks did, and, maybe kind of catch a couple teams slipping a few nights in the series and be able to kind of come out on top.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And I think Kemba Walker will help somebody like Julius Randle in multiple ways. Like Kemba Walker's a pretty good pick and roll point guard. He's he'll keep the momentum and the tempo exactly where they need it or want it to be. So I just think overall, like some of those moves. I know you were kind of high on Miami and maybe them last year, and I think them re-signing Duncan Robinson, one of the better 3-point shooters, them locking up Oladipo. I just think they're making a lot of good moves as well, that would keep them as a kind of a grimy team, and a team that you might not necessarily want to run into during the playoffs. So I think they're making the right moves as well. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm not sure your opinions on those guys. Who do you kind of think had the best outcome?
yeah, no, you're right. I think for me, it was definitely Miami. I like feel like last year they just got like, obviously they were in the finals, had a lot of they had some guys that had like some lingering injuries. I think Jimmy Butler missed quite a bit of time. I mean, they just got pushed around. That series with the Bucks wasn't even close. I'm sure they lost. Pretty sure they lost like 3 out of the 4 games by more than like 10 to 12 points. Only the first game was really close.
Yeah.
So I do like how they're able to re-sign Duncan Robinson. I think that's huge. Like you said, get Oladipo back. I think one pick that one person here to get, or two people actually, I think that'll help them out a lot is PJ Tucker.
Yep.
I like how the Bucks basically used him as a rental. Picked him up from the the Rockets.
Yeah.
He was able to slide right into the starting lineup. Basically he in the playoffs he covered Durant, Booker, Harden, like was really taking on the challenge as someone like the other team's biggest scorers,
Agreed.
and just was able to just like really knock them off kilter. Just very physical player. Rebounds decent, and then they also got Markieff Morris. I've always been a fan of the Morris twins.
Yeah, nice.
They kind of like remind me of like I'll be careful when I say this. Not like I don't think they're like Rashid level type talent, but they're just like Rashid. I feel like they just kind of have that like
Or
toughness, that aura. Yeah, just like big stretch fours, like hit the three. Play defense. Definitely rough you up a little bit. Just real physical guys. So I just think that they're able to, solidify their front court. Just having like some great experience. They are a little long in the tooth as far as like an age perspective. It'd be kind of interesting to see, how guys' legs will, be and everything, as kind of gets later into the season, just with some guys being a little older and injuries, and that's all it's part of the game and stuff too. But I definitely do like what Miami did. So yeah, I
I,
go ahead.
I think you made some good points. You brought up PJ Tucker, and I think he's one of them guys. We a few weeks ago with the Suns, we talked about Jay Crowder and how there's certain names of people that kind of get overlooked, but they're always on a good team. They're always guarding the best players. They're always in the mix, and that's not by accident. There's a reason why PJ Tucker is always on a solid team. There's a reason why Jay Crowder is always on a solid team is because what they do is very valuable, and they're gonna, yeah, they're gonna play, be in the right spot, make the right play on offense, not try to shoot the ball too much, and then on defense, they're gonna take out one of their better players to the best of their ability, be one of the only guys to slow them down. So I think a guy like that, along when you already have Jimmy Butler, you already have all the lockdown defenders. I do think you're a very tough team.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about